Mary Shelley, in her book Frankenstein, around 1818, has transformed me as a person, which is indeed the purpose of literature. It is just that different writers connect with different people. As a scientist who has discovered the connection of natural life to artificial intelligence, her work has become pivotal to setting my frame of mind. I've discovered the following. Here we see the equation, where we see on the left-hand side of the equation the elements central to artificial intelligence, or robots, and on the right side is are the primordial precursors to natural life, the amino acids, which are the building blocks of natural life, and the compounds of DNA responsible for the instructions of natural life. It is at this point that we realize that getting carried away with the grandeur of our discovery, unchecked by a sense of human values, can result in a monster that can hinder human progress as opposed to favoring it. Mary Shelley has her character Victor Frankenstein saying, "I paused, examining and analyzing all of the minutiae of causation as exemplified in the change from life to death and death to life, until from the midst of the darkness a sudden light broke in upon me. A light so brilliant and wondrous, yet so simple, that while I became dizzy with the immensity of the project of which it illustrated, I was surprised that among so many of men of genius who directed their inquiries toward the same science, that I alone should be reserved to discover so astonishing a secret. After days and nights of incredible labor and fatigue, I succeeded in discovering the cause of generation and life. Nay more, I became myself capable of bestowing animation upon lifeless matter." But in retrospect, the same scientist says, "I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body. For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. I desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation, but now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart." With this, I see the warning in the creation of monsters. The term robot was invented by Karl Capet and first appeared in his 1921 play RUR, which means Rossum's Universal Robots. In this work, his robots were not electronic artificial intelligence, but biological artificial intelligence, supposed to be soulless servants to humanity, but not to the character Helena, who came to visit Rossum to tell him she feels the robots have a soul and therefore feel the pain of their enslavement and that she wants them to be freed. Capek used the idea of his robots to object to enslavement of humanity by the rich and their justification for it by suggesting the poor don't have a soul. This brings us to The Rights of Man by H.G. Wells in 1940. This is a work that became pivotal to the United Nations formation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. He wrote, "Since man comes into this world through no fault of his own, since he is a joint inheritor of the accumulations of the past, and since those accumulations are more than sufficient to satisfy the claims that are here made on his behalf, it follows, 1, that every man without distinction of race or color is entitled to nourishment, housing, covering medical care, and attention sufficient to realize his full possibilities of physical and mental development, and to keep him in a state of health from his birth to death." In this work, he makes clear that when he says man, he means man and woman. Today we use the word humankind in place of mankind, but then they have always meant the same thing. Okay, so basically, I now see that in 2017 that we face the prospect of making artificial intelligence, like the robots in that work, that are self-aware and are therefore living beings. We have to ask if they have rights as well. Given they do not require food, are stronger, and can think faster than humans, we come to the realization that if they are given rights, they could destroy us. To solve this conundrum, Isaac Asimov, in his 1950 book, I, Robot, explores this issue, introducing for the first time the laws of robotics. They are: 1. A robot may not injure a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. 2. A robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. Let's see how these laws work as they unfold in its stories. In I, Robot, a robot comes to believe that in handling a space station that the graphs and dials from which it receives its orders are his creator, which he calls the master, because he feels human beings are inferior to robots and therefore could not have created them. And so, because something superior, he says, cannot create something inferior, so he kicks humans out of the control room and tells them he will no longer take orders from them, but rather from the master. The dialogue goes like this. He turned to Powell. What are we going to do now? Powell felt tired but uplifted. Nothing. He's just shown that he can run the station perfectly. I've never seen an electron storm handled so well. But nothing's solved. You heard what he said of the master. We can't. But nothing's solved. You heard what he... Oh, yeah. But nothing's solved. You heard what he said about the master. We can't. Look, Mike, he follows the instructions of the master by means of dials, instruments, and graphs. That's all we ever followed. As a matter of fact, it accounts for his refusal to obey us. Obedience is the second law. No harm to humans is the first. How can he keep humans from harm, whether he knows it or not? Why? By keeping the energy beam stable. He knows he can keep it more stable than we can, since he insists he is the superior being, so he must keep us out of the control room. It's inevitable if you consider the laws of robotics. Sure, but that's not the point. We can't let him continue with this nitwit stuff about the master. Why not? Because whoever heard of such a damn thing? How are we going to trust him with the station if he doesn't believe in Earth? Can he handle the station? Yes, but then what's the difference what he believes?